right through here. Tom, my first question is, oh, you can sit back.
Oh, okay.
My first question is, who are you and what's your affiliation with this rescue squad?
My name is Patrick O'Connell. I'm a life member, active life member. I've been a member since June of 1967. I have 51 years in as a member, and I'm still active.
Tell me a little bit about how you started. Junior squad, right?
I started in the junior squad as a sophomore at James Monroe High School when they had their junior squad program, and they came around recruiting people. And you could join when you was a sophomore. So I joined as a sophomore, and once I graduated, I got voted in to the senior squad when I was 21 years old.
So tell me a little bit about why you joined in the first place.
I joined because I like to help people, and I had friends that were in the junior squad, and I really like to go out and do things for the community and help the community and give back to the community what they've given to me.
Perfect. Talk a little bit about what this area was like, because it seems like back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, you guys were the only game in town. This was your territory from north to south, east to west, all over the place. Talk a little bit about what it was like back
Yeah, that's correct. We were the only rescue squad around. We ran everything. We did transport from the hospital to the nursing homes, to doctors' offices. We made trips to Richmond. I've been all the way to Louisa to pick people up, and instead of coming to Fredericksburg, we went to Richmond. There was no other Stafford Rescue Squad. There was no Spotsylvania Rescue Squad. We didn't have a bunk room. We didn't have pagers. We didn't have hardly any communications other than by radio with the fire department. What we had was a horn at the fire department that would blow 3 times when they needed a rescue squad. And whenever squad members heard that horn blow 3 times, they came to the building to run calls. On Sunday morning, I would be listening to, like, it was a church service on the radio, and you could hear that horn in the background, and the preacher would stop preaching and say, "All squad members, you have a squad call," in the middle of his sermon. And that's basically what it was back then. You didn't have anywhere to sleep at the building. You were on call from Sunday evening at 6 o'clock till the next Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. You were divided into 4 squads. You ran 1 whole week, and you was off 3 weeks, and then back on a week. And that was basically how they got a hold of you. I worked over here, what is now a retail building or something. I worked at Sears Roebuck. Whenever they needed somebody to go out on a squad call, they would come over to the building and get me to go on a squad call. One day I went on a squad call. It was an automobile accident. Well, when I got to the hospital and backed up, there stood the store manager and the assistant manager on the dock. And I said, uh-oh. So we took the patient in. Come to find out, it was the manager's wife who'd been in an automobile accident. So when I got back to the store, I was called upstairs into the office. And he told me, he said, "Listen, as long as you do your job and your job gets done, you can leave anytime you want." And that really was, back then, that's about what it was. Local people that worked around close to the building would leave their jobs to come and answer the calls during the day, and then at night at 6 o'clock, you went on call till 6 o'clock the next morning.
You were volunteering.
Yes, and the fire department would call you at home. They would call you. We didn't stay at the building. They would call you at home to come to the building. Many a night they've called me to come to the building, and I've had a police car chase me to the building. But once he seen me pulling the rescue squad lot, he cut off his lights and went on.
I mean, you guys were, it's a different breed, it sounds like. I mean, there's a lot of kids these days, okay, well, what are you going to pay me to work all those hours?
Right.
To do all that stuff. But you guys are volunteer. It takes a special group of people to do what you guys did.
Yes, and we was a very tight group of people. Back then, we took classes together. We had meetings. The 3rd Tuesday night of every month was a training meeting, and the whole squad would take the same class at the same time so that everybody was qualified. Back then, all you needed was a basic first aid to be in the rescue squad. And then came EMT, which was a 300-hour course, which we had to take and pass for the state. And now you almost got to be a doctor to be in the rescue squad.
Talk a little bit about some of the equipment you guys used way back when. A lot of it, you would get it, you would have to fix it yourself, you would have to figure things out yourself, it sounds like, from talking to all these other folks.
Yeah, we bought our own carryalls, and we basically put everything in them ourselves. We made the benches for them. We bought the stretchers. We made the stretcher hooks and all that. We put the radios in and had all that hooked up. And we basically just bought the vehicle and we converted it into an ambulance.
Was this fun to do?
It was, because we had different people that had different things they could do and knew how to do, and they chipped in and helped do it. And we did have outside help people would come in from outside and help do stuff if they knew the rescue squad needed it. Back then, if you was a member of the rescue squad, you were well known in the community. If you would go out to eat and you had your coveralls on, which we wore back then, you probably didn't pay for a meal. When you went up to pay, somebody had already paid because they saw you was on duty with the rescue squad.
You guys are local heroes.
We were back then. That is true. Back then, Fredericksburg Rescue Squad was known as heroes for doing what they did and not taking any money and volunteering their time. I was single, and Jerry Allman down at Allman's Jewelry Store was single. Him and I about lived at this building 24/7 when we weren't working.
You mentioned money. You didn't take any money, but you had to raise money to keep this thing going. So kind of talk a little bit of what you guys did to raise money to make sure you guys had what you need to do your job.
We had what we called a moving tape, which was downtown on Caroline Street. And we did that on a Friday evening and all day Saturday. And what it was, we stood out in the street with nets and we collected money. And as we got the money, somebody would take and tape the dollar bills down the sidewalk as we got the money. And we had bands that would come and play. We had a tractor and trailer flatbed set up. Bands would come and play for us for free, and people would donate. They'd love to donate because they knew that money was going to help them if they ever needed it.
So that was my next question. So how did the community respond to it?
The community back then responded great. We always met our goal. In fact, we usually went over our goal when we tried to raise money for our fund drive.
So what did that money go towards? I mean, did it go towards training?
It went for training.
Start that over because I was talking over you. Go ahead.
It went for training. It also went for equipment for the squad. It went for things for the building. That's basically how we stayed going, is by donations from the public.
Are you proud of your service to this community?
Oh, yes, I'm very proud. I'm proud to be a member of the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad. Like I say, back then, you could almost go anywhere, and if you had on that green jacket that said Fredericksburg Rescue Squad, or you had on the white coveralls, you didn't pay for anything anywhere, just about.
So kind of tell me a little bit how your career went through. You were in juniors when you became 21, you became a senior squad member. So kind of tell me a little bit about your career.
Well, I worked my way up through the junior squad as captain, and I got on the first aid team in the junior squad, and we were the only junior squad so far, I think, to win the first aid contest at state competition. We beat every team there, including the seniors and the ladies auxiliary. We scored more points than anybody there, but they wouldn't give us the points for trophy because we were a junior squad. They said we didn't qualify. But there's a picture here somewhere of the four of us that actually won the trophy for state competition against all the rescue squads in the state. Being a member of the rescue squad is probably one of the greatest achievements I've had in my lifetime. I started off volunteering, and I really got into it, as you would say, I guess, and it really helped me accomplish some things. I mean, it helped me in life. It helped me, my job over here at the Sears Roebuck when it was over there. It helped me meet people that helped me advance in life. And that, to me, was a great achievement as being a member of this rescue squad.
So you say you're still active?
Yes, I still do standbys. I dress up as Rescue Sam, and I attend all the business meetings, and I'm on the board of trustees for the rescue squad.
What are standbys for somebody who doesn't?
Where you go stand by at a football game or a race, the marathons that they run, anywhere, anybody that calls for a standby for different things, we go stand by.
So if somebody needs help, you know what to do.
Yes.
Perfect.
Right.
Talk a little bit about, what do you think that this rescue squad has meant to the community for the past several decades?
Back when there was nobody else to do that, we were the major ones in the community to help people when they were sick or when they needed to go from the hospital to home or hospital to the nursing home, or if somebody was real bad off, they needed to go to Richmond. We were the ones to take them to Richmond. There was no life care. There was no helicopters. There was nothing but the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad. Many a night I've gotten up and gone to Richmond, got home in time to take a shower and go to work.
But what kept you coming back?
The love of being in the rescue squad and the people that I worked with and to help the community.
And actually say these words for me. That's what kept me coming back. Say that.
That's what kept me coming back, was to help the community and the people that I worked with, and it's something that I really love to do.
Does it take a special person to do that? Because I'm sure you see some things that not a whole lot of people want to see.
Yes, it does. I've seen a lot in my 51 years here. I've picked up people that were covered in blood that I didn't even recognize that I knew until we got them to the hospital and got them cleaned up. I've picked up babies, which kids is really what gets to me, picking up children or babies. But you just really, when you go on a squad call and you get out there, you don't think about that. All you think about is what you have to do to get these people stabilized to get them to the hospital.
Just a job.
It's a job. And like I say, you just block out everything else. You just go and do what you have to do what you were trained to do. Like people in the rescue squad that trained me, the first aid, the CPR, everything, how to bandage, how to fix broken arms, legs. You don't think about anything else but, okay, this guy's got a broken leg, I need to splint this leg, we need to get him stabilized on the stretcher into the hospital. Back then, that was what you did. You didn't call a hospital and give them blood pressures or any vitals, anything. You just stabilized them and you went to the hospital.
You spent a lot of time with these folks over the years, running calls, being here, doing all kinds of things. Would you call this a family, an extended family? What would you call it?
Definitely. I would call this my second family. These are people that I've worked with for years, I've known for years. These are people I've argued with. We've had many arguments, but when something happens to one, that's all forgotten. When something happens to a member of the rescue squad, it becomes family, and everything else is forgotten.
So you have a lot of memories running calls and things, but as Steve alluded to, I mean, you guys got together socially to do things too, to help benefit the rescue squad, right?
Oh yeah, we used to have shrimp dinners and oyster roasts. We had Christmas dinners. We've had many things that the members would show. In fact, we have a life member breakfast coming up tomorrow morning that I'm sure a lot of the old life members will be there because they like to come back and meet with the members and go over, talk things like we're doing now.
51 years is a long time. What's the biggest thing that you take away from all that time?
I think the biggest thing I take away is, like I said, this being a family, and if something was to happen to me or my family, I know that the rescue squad would be there to help me. And they know if something happened to one of their members, I would be there to help them. To me, this is a tight group of people that look out for each other, and that is one reason I'm still active and still here. And it is for the love of being a rescue squad member and helping the community.
I got nothing else, Steve. What about you? He's awesome. Pat is awesome. Awesome, Pat.
I've been called worse.
Tell them about how much y'all destroyed at conventions.
No, we can't talk
All
about
right,
it.
let me ask you this, Terry.
Okay.
Terry had a good question. Do you have, are there any more calls that you've gone on that have stood out for good or bad? Calls that may stand out to you as, wow, that's one of the most memorable things I've ever experienced?
There was one call that I went on where I think it was a car had turned over and people were trapped, and we got the people out, and then up under the floor mat of the car was a little baby that was dead, and that really got to me. Another one that really got to me was one night we had to go way out in Spotsylvania to a guy that had third-degree burns all over his body. And all the way in, I was in the back. I think Jerry Allman was driving that night. And all the way in, all he did was take and pull his skin out and let it go, just like a rubber band, all the way to the hospital. And I just sat there and said, "Oh, Lord, please let this man make it." And then we ended up taking him from Fredericksburg to Richmond that night, and he did make it.
So when you can have those successful, especially if you've got to go all the way out to the far reaches of this area and bring somebody back or take them to Richmond, where maybe in your deep down you don't think they're going to make it, but they do. When you can have successes like that, what do those successes mean to you?
It means a lot when you pick up somebody that you don't think is going to make it, and then you find out that they did make it. To me, that's a feeling that you can't describe. You can't describe how you feel inside even when you just help somebody you know is not really that bad off, but they think they are. And you get them to where they got to be, and they get the treatment they need, and you see them maybe downtown one day or somewhere, and they recognize you and come up and talk to you. There's no way to describe the feeling inside my heart that I am able to describe to you about what I did and how I did it. And to me, this is more like a gift that God gave me. God said, "Pat, I want you to be a member of the rescue squad. I want you to go out and help people while you're here on this earth." And that's what I did.
I got one last question. I want to end on that because it was really good, but I always have one more. It seems like
All right, go ahead.
Question. We're kind of interviewing you folks to kind of get your stories on record and kind of a legacy project. What do you want people in this community or outside this community to know about the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad? If there's one thing that you would want them to know about it, what would that be?
I think I would want them to know that the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad has been here for many years, and because of the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad being here, this community is a better place to live, and the people respect rescue squad members and respect the rescue squad, and that they will continue to support the rescue squad and that it will continue to support the community.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add?
That's it.
You're awesome. You good, Steve?
You should have told him the fountain story.
Wait.
What?
The fountain.
All right, what's the fountain? So tell me the fountain.
Okay,
You're sitting there, you might as well tell it.
So we used to come down to the squad building, and somebody, we don't know who, they have this fountain out in the park. And it seemed like somehow detergent would get in the fountain, and it would bubble up and overflow into the park. And the police would come and ask us who, would keep an eye out for them to see if anybody did it. And one day, actually, they put in too much, and it ended up on the house across the street, up on the porch. And the police were trying to find out who put the soap suds in the fountain. And they asked us to keep an eye out in the park, and if we seen anybody suspicious, to let them know. And we did that.
So what happened?
Nothing. They never did find the person. We don't know who did it or how they got in or out without being seen, but they did it. But now, of course, they have cameras all over the place, so.
It's one of those great mysteries.
Yeah.
All right, this might be a more hard-hitting question.
Uh-oh.
Going for pizza at Eddie's Pizza.
Oh, that was the best thing in the world.
Talk a little about it. So start with Eddie's Pizza.
Well, Eddie's Pizza, you'd be down here on duty on maybe a Sunday night, and you'd get a phone call from Eddie's Pizza saying, hey, we got these pizzas left over. Would you all like to have them? And everybody would say, yeah, we'll come get it. And they had the square pizza. They didn't have the round. It was the best pizza in town. And yes, you were hoping that on a Sunday night or whatever night you had duty, you were saying, Lord, let Eddie's call us. And we would get calls, not only from Eddie's, we'd get calls from Kentucky Fried Chicken, from any restaurant in town that had extra food. They'd call the rescue squad and say, hey, would you all like to come and get this for your dinner? And back then, you know, the restaurants, and they supported the rescue squad. The movie theaters gave us tickets. Restaurants gave us free food. We like I said, you didn't have to pay for anything if you was on duty for the rescue squad.
That's a big thank you for a bunch of young guys who like to eat.
Oh yeah, it was a big thank you, and you know, and the squad we appreciated that, because now you're lucky if you get anything, because times have changed. Times have really changed since I was back started in the rescue squad. We like I say, we didn't have a bunker room. We'd come down here and sleep on the stretchers in the ambulance at night if we wanted to spend the night, because there was nowhere to sleep unless you slept on a sofa in the day room. And back then, like I say, we all trained together, and everybody had the same training, so everybody knew what everybody else was going to do.
So, Ed, would you change anything about the last 50 years?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Well, I guess the biggest change that came along was paid people. Once the paid people came, and then it kind of, at one time, it was like divided between paid and volunteers. But I think now it's gotten better. I think the paid people and the volunteers get along a lot better now than then. Only thing I probably would want to change, which I probably can never do, is the amount of time now that's required to be a squad member. I mean, that's probably why we don't have a lot of members now, because people don't have the time anymore. They don't have the time to do all the classes and go to all the meetings and do all the things that the state says they want you to do in order just to be a member of the rescue squad. And that I think is one of the things I would like to change if I could.
You got another question, Steve?
Oh, Lord, Steve, come on. Man said he was at the last question 10 days ago.
You have anything else?
Do you remember having to answer an emergency call en route to Eddie's Pizza one night?
No.
Oh, okay.
Let's scratch that question for the moment. I don't have anything else. You were great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Yep.